And welcome to the Make It Look Easy podcast. I'm your host, Tim Too Easy Stone. And we got a special day today. I'm glad to bring this individual to y'all because he's going to give nothing but positivity. But before we start that, you know what? Go ahead, look down. You see on YouTube? Go ahead, subscribe, like, comment. Go ahead and share it with your friends, man. Just spread that positivity. I appreciate y'all showing up again for the Make It Look Easy podcast. Now, before we get started, I'm going ahead and talk about this guy. This guy is very special to me. He's one of my mentors, one of the biggest influence in my career while I was in the United States Army, and I'm still in him, and he's still being that mentor for me right now, right? He's a great mentor. He got a lot of positivity to talk to y'all about. So let me go ahead and give him his proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, today is truly an honor to introduce a distinguished leader, mentor, and servant who has dedicated over 2 decades of his life to this nation. Master Sergeant retiree Landsworth L3 Lafayette Jr., now proudly retired from the United States Army. Master Lafayette, I could call him Landsworth now, Landsworth, Lance, concluded an extraordinary military career serving as the program manager for the Military Equal Opportunity Program for the 1st Armored Division and Fort Bliss, where he was the principal advisor to senior leadership on matters impacting more than 38,000 soldiers and civilians. His leadership helped shape command climate, strengthen organizational culture, and assure dignity and respect across the force. Since enlisting in 1999, woo, right? He built a career marked by global impact, operational excellence. His service took him across Europe and Middle East, supporting joint operation and allied mission with NATO, serving with the 7th Army Training Command, and contributing to the mission in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Kuwait. He also held key leadership assignments at installations, including Fort Bragg and Fort Benning, both where we was at, right? His long list of awards and decorations, including multiple meritorious service medals, joint service honor, Army Commendation medals, campaign ribbons, and international recognition, reflects a career defined not just by longevity, but by sustained excellence and influence. Beyond his military accomplishments, he is a lifelong learner, holding advanced degrees in business administration and continuing to pursue higher education, proving that leadership doesn't stop at retirement. Today, we're welcoming not just retiring Master Lafayette, but a transformational leader whose legacy continues through mentorship, positivity, and service to others. Please, please help me welcome Master Sergeant retiree Landsworth L3 Lafayette Jr. What's up, Lafayette? How you doing, boss man? Did I do you
I'm
right,
good,
man?
so what's going on with you, boss man? Hey, it's a pleasure to be on your podcast with the Too Easy way we make things look too easy, boss man. Hey, it's an honor and a privilege to be here on your past podcast to share some knowledge, share my experience, and what have made me successful throughout my, like you said, over 2 decades worth of service to our nation and to this man going, boss man. Happy to be here. Let's get it.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for showing up to the podcast. Man, look, that introduction, you gave me the bio, and I just had to give you the roses, right? We're going to talk about
I
roses
got
here
you,
shortly,
boss.
man. But, hey, man, I appreciate everything you did for me, man. First off, I want to start off by thanking you. You see me as a young soldier, and you helped mentor me. You are many of people who helped me, and you was definitely inspirational, man. So I really appreciate. Thank you for showing up to the podcast, boss, man. You ready for this,
Yes,
LL?
sir.
You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's
Hey,
get
see,
it.
people don't know I
Let's
call
get
you
it, man.
LL, but LL, you ready for this, man? You ready for this,
Yes,
Lance
sir.
Lafayette? I can't call you. I still respect you, but I call you Master. But you know,
You
you
good,
might
man. You
catch
can
me
call me
doing it
Lance. You
every
can
now
call
and
me
then.
L3, whichever one,
Yeah,
boss,
yeah,
man. You
definitely.
have earned that. You are one of the key. You're one of those soldiers that have earned that to call me that after retirement, boss man. One of those few soldiers.
That's love, bro. That's love. Hey, how the
Yes,
family doing,
sir.
boss man? How the family doing?
Hey, the family is good. The family is good. Both are downstairs right now, just relaxing. We're gonna get ready to go to karate in a few, in
Okay,
another hour change. To go
okay.
get them some karate in so they can learn how to defend themselves, from bullies and stuff like that across the school and wherever else they might go in this world. So, I got to make sure that my kids are taken care of as well, too.
Hey, I love that, man. Definitely, definitely. Hey, make sure you send me pictures of that too. All right, you feel me?
Sure, for sure.
Silence. Already, they don't know that. Martin Lawrence, silence.
Silence.
I knew. Yeah,
Silence.
you had them saying it for so long. But all right, man. Let's go ahead. Let's start with the opening, man. Here, you ready for these
Okay.
questions? It's gonna catch you off
Yes,
guard
sir.
now. But
Let's
let's
go.
start with the first one. When you look back at your 20-year career in the Army, what are you most proud of? Not rank, not awards, but impact.
Well, the thing that I'm most proud of is, the impact that I've made, not just for, the soldiers that I've had underneath my tutelage as well, too, but, for, soldiers past and present, because there are some of my soldiers that are still serving in the military, and there are some that already have transitioned to do bigger and better things in their civilian career as well, too, in the next chapter. So it's a plus, or it's a tribute to leaders that I think when those type of soldiers still remember the thing that you have done for them throughout their military career, and they could take that with them as well to into their civilian career. As you remember, or you can recall, when you were underneath me, you were getting ready to go to the board, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of gave my service members a list of things that I look for, not just to help them in the military, but also to help them grow as they transition as well to outside the military. And some of my soldiers, like, Talukia Brave or Osiris, I still have you, I still have Rumillard,
Mm-hmm.
still come through. And, they thank me for all the things that I've done for them as well, too. Even though I was hard on y'all, you know, I was hard on y'all because I cared about y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And again, most leaders nowadays wants to be their service members' friends. Not saying that you can't do that, but you still can do that while still being an effective leader. And that's where you'll have the most impact, where you're not just friends, but you know when to cross the line. And the soldiers also recognize when to cross that line and when not to cross that line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, definitely makes sense, man. I can tell you right now, it makes sense to a lot of people. You name a few personnel, man. Some people I just came, I got a name too as well, like Rosario. Even though he wasn't completely under you, but everybody, you impacted a lot of people. Rosario to Kim to even Tigra, man. So you impacted a lot of people back in the past, man. And that's one thing that I think everybody could tell about who's LL. He's so impactful. He always wanted to mentor the soldiers. You really did care about the soldiers, man. All
Yeah.
right, so if your soldiers could describe your leadership, which I already told you, but you know what I'm saying, if your soldiers could describe your leadership style in 3 words, what do you hope they would say?
Harsh but fair.
Mm,
Harsh
definitely
but fair.
harsh.
Yeah, harsh but fair. And again,
Critical
that's
too.
one thing that
Critical
I've
too.
taken with me throughout my military career. I could be harsh when I need to be,
Mm-hmm.
and but I'm always fair across the board. No matter what the situation is, no matter what is going on, I'm harsh, but I'm fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, service members need to understand that, hey, yes, I messed up, and this is the reason why I messed up. However, when you don't hold that against them throughout the entire time that they're underneath you. When it's time for them to be rewarded, the same harshness that you give them or the corrective training that you give them as well too is the same thing that you use to reward them as well. It has always been a thing for me. I don't always just write a 4856 or something like that. Because we have leaders out there that only counsel their soldiers only when it's bad, and they give them an attaboy or a pat on the back when they do something positive.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes a difference when a service member could go back and look through their counseling packet and they could see not only did I get counseled, for doing something wrong, but I also got a positive counseling as well too, saying that I did something well. I.e., whether it's passing the board, improving their PT test, getting an award for whatever reason, getting a coin, for whatever reason. It's always good to have that written down as well. So that way they can always go back and reflect on that when you actually sit down with them to do their counseling every month or every quarter if they're your NCOs.
Okay. So I agree with you on that one, man. From my experience with you as well. Just like you said, harsh, but you always led us in the right way. You gave us great guidance. It's multiple times that I used generic stuff and you was on me with counseling. Just stop using generic stuff. Create your own. Create your own. And I'm like, man, he won't give me a break. Nothing make this man happy. But man, I really appreciate that. You definitely impact. Like you do give us the tools to be successful, man. So Yeah,
But not
harsh,
only that, though,
tough love is the
but not
best
only
thing.
that, yeah, but not only that, but if you remember, some of the things that I was harsh on you was as a, young specialist, private, specialist, now sergeant, some of those things, if I'm not mistaken, based off our conversation that we've had over the years, I do progressive rank, those are some of the things that come back to you. Now you could utilize those things as well to, inspire your soldiers, use
Mm,
them to counsel your soldiers along the way for certain things that they have done as well too. Because again, you already had a leader who has gone through that stuff with you, showed you not just that you have messed up, but how can you improve from, or how can you some of that obstacle that you have just, faltered through. And that's where I think it makes a difference with leaders these days that, hey, you could recognize in someone that, hey, yes, they have messed up,
mm-hmm.
but they're also trying to continue to soldier on. And then how do they continue to soldier on? What are the steps that is necessary to overcome that obstacle so they can continue to soldier, to continue to take care of their families if they do bother, or to continue to take care of themselves? And
Okay.
that's where leaders make the biggest impact with their soldiers, because they're not just trying to take, something from them,
Mm-hmm.
but they also recognize that you have messed up. And now that you have messed up, here's how you get over that obstacle that you yourself created, or whatever situation created that for you while you're in the position that you are.
Okay, I like that, man. I like that. So, with that being said, because you spoke about a lot of soldiers and a lot of personnel, you influenced over 38,000 personnel during your time at the First Armored Division, correct? That's a
Mhm.
legacy. So
It is.
that's a legacy level leadership. So did you ever realize in the moment how many lives you were shaping?
At first I didn't. At first I didn't, because funny story as well too, because when I was contemplating retirement the first time was
Hmm.
in Germany. And at that time we were just unfurled from COVID and everything like that. So COVID had just unfurled. And
Crazy
then during
time.
that time frame as well too, knowing my work ethic and everything like that, I was constantly working to get my battalion up to snuff with everything that was going on. We had people that were playing the COVID game, and I didn't want my battalion to fail regardless of the situation. So during that time frame as well too, while other individuals were getting off early from work, I was there in the grind, making sure that, hey, whatever reports we need to get to our brigade and division or the 7 HEC was being done. To make sure that, hey, we're account for those that had COVID, we're account for those individual problems. And as a result of that,
Hmm.
because even while I was there in Germany, just going back just a little bit, I also was taking time away from my family, because sometimes I would even sleep in the office, to make sure that things got done, and that was not sustainable.
Mm.
And it's to the point where, while we were in Germany, I say this to a lot of people, and I even said this on my retirement speech, I almost lost my family,
Mm.
because of that reason. Because, individuals were going home at a decent hour and a decent time when the sun was still up. However, I was not doing it. And
Mm.
as a result of that, if it wasn't for the travel ban, I probably wouldn't be married today, because of
Mm.
that reason. And that had to make me reevaluate what was more important. I didn't diminish the level of support, or the level of um the level of determination that I give to my soldiers or to the organization, but I
Mm.
had to prioritize how much time do I give to my organization and how much time do I give to my family. So I had to
Mm.
find out work-life balance, because again, what I've seen throughout my career is that there's individuals that have gone after the ranks throughout their career and leave their family towards the wayside.
Mm.
And then I've
Mm.
seen where, once they get that career and they take the uniform off, their family's not there with them.
Nobody
They're
there.
not there with them. And
Nobody.
I've gone through too many retirement ceremonies where they're up there by themselves after 27
Sad.
years in this man's army. And
Hmm.
now they're standing wearing the uniform for the very last time,
And
and they're either
nobody's there with
divorced,
them.
getting ready to divorce,
Mm.
or their family members have said, you know what? The only thing that you have contributed to me was just finances, or, hey, whenever I need money, I have to call you to finance, because you are not there, because you are chasing a career. Yes, in hindsight, you think that you are taking care of the family by getting that strength, but the family needed you to be present, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
And when it's time for them to take that uniform off
Hmm.
and their family's not there, for me, that was a sad situation.
Mm.
And I promised myself that I would never let that happen. So when I was contemplating that, back in Germany, I wanted to come to Texas to retire. So we were looking at things to retire in Texas. And I got picked up to go to 160th Signal over there in Kuwait to go reunite with CW2 Henderson, at the time. And she was elated that I was coming to be
Shout out
her
to Hennessy.
NCIC.
Shout out
Yeah.
to her. Shout out to her.
That I was coming to be her NCIC, and she immediately reached out to me. But God had a different plan. So so I started looking at places to go to retire so I could move the family back to Texas, so I could go to Kuwait for a year
Mhm.
and then start the transition. However, like I said, God had a different plan for me. I still ended up in Texas, but didn't have to go to Texas and then go to Kuwait and then come back and all that
Yeah.
other stuff because that was going to be rough on the family as well too.
Gotcha, man.
So got picked up for Master Sergeant, and then what do you know? God had me go to Fort Bliss to go be their senior military equal opportunity advisor
And
for the
shape.
entire division in Fort Bliss. And the stars just aligned, and the stars just aligned.
That's
And to
perfect.
tell the truth,
Mhm.
throughout my career, I've been with a lot of organizations where profanity was like the second word out of everybody's mouth.
Mm.
And by having this job, as a military equal opportunity advisor, completely changed my vernacular,
Mm.
completely shaped the way that I speak to people, the way that I spoke to people, and the way that I carried myself, because it's not just about me anymore. I was representing the CG for the Fort Bliss and First Armored Division. And that's what I was doing. So the way that I carried myself had to change.
Gotcha.
Because again, the way I looked at it is it wasn't going to be just, hey, Landsworth Lafayette, he said something derogatory. No, it was going to be a CG, Senior Military Equal Opportunity Advisor, said something that was not in accordance with the Military Equal Opportunity Code.
Okay.
So again, I carried the weight of not only myself, but I carried the weight of just the organization and Fort Bliss every time I'm out and about as well too. So I have to make sure that I was acting in the part as well as making myself accountable and holding myself accountable first before I could hold anybody else accountable while remaining neutral for the process and for the product.
Okay. So LL, I heard, family. You spoke very strong on family, right? And you had that support system for you to be able to, shape the future of the leaders over there in Fort Bliss, right? Shape the army, right? Help shape, play your part. Now, with that being said, because you had that support of your family, who poured into you early in your career that helped shape the leader you became?
So the very first person that I had a running with was summer first class Vincent Field. Next was Master Vincent Fields. And
Mm.
he was one of my first sergeants that I had at 18 PSD, 18 Personal Services Battalion at Bragg when I first got there. It was him and Staff Sergeant Allen. I forgot his first name, but I will never forget that. Staff Sergeant Allen, he sat me down as a young PB2 when I first got there. And back then, we had to do a lot of correspondence courses because back then we were on the thousand point scale. We've gone through quite a few changes, with the promotion system. So we had the 1,000 point scale, and then we had the 800 point scale. So at that time he sat me down, he gave me a lot of correspondence courses and said, "Hey, boss man, I need you to go ahead and knock this all out." And I will never forget that. He said, "Hey, just because you are a private or a specialist doesn't mean that you cannot continue to work on the next couple of rounds. Don't look at one rank ahead, look at two ranks ahead." So that way, because the next rank is going to be guaranteed. It's going to be guaranteed. As long as you don't mess up anything, that's always going to be guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's the next rank after that you have to worry about. Because again, you're not just working for this rank, you're working two ranks above. And ever since I've gotten that and I've kept myself that way, that's what I've always tried to teach my mentees as well too. But hey, the next rank is going to be guaranteed as long as you don't mess up anything. You need to be working two ranks above. So that way, when it's time for you to get the next rank, you don't have to do too much to make sure that you're already checking the block. Not really check a block, because we are leaders that just check the block, but to make sure that you're set up for success for the next rank that is coming. And you don't have to do too much because you're already working at that level already.
Definitely.
And then after that, you have Sergeant Major Prelude.
Shout out Sergeant Major Prelude, retiree.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that we had, at 14 HRC. And I met two phenomenal warrant officers as well too when I came to the 14 HRC. And that is now CW5 retired Adioti and CW4 retired Michael Goodman. Those two right there were instrumental in how I treated my soldiers continually because when I got to 14 PSB, 14 HRC, I was a staff sergeant. I was a staff sergeant at that time. And again, I had some soldiers that, were leadership challenge. They were leadership challenges. And those type of soldiers, kind of enhance your leadership quality as well too, because they let you know what you do know and what you don't know in order to take care of a soldier and their issues or concerns that they have, not only just for them as an individual, but also for their family members. And those leadership challenges that I had, helped me to hone the skills that I already had. So that way, after I leave them and I got them squared away, I could take that, put it in my rucksack. So when I get to another duty station, I can utilize those as well too, to make sure that, hey, the soldiers that I currently have, I've been through that situation. I know the right tools. I have the right tools available. I just need to tweak them to make them fit for the soldier that I have those challenges with right now. And the last person that I would say, is Dila.
Okay.
First on love. She knows first on which I love. But when she got there, she was a female drill song coming off the trail. And she was one of the ones that, say, hey, she kind of showed me, because at that time, I think she was a song first class as well, too. And she kind of showed me, what a song first class should be doing as well, too, and how that person should be acting, when it's time to get certain things done. Because again, in the 14 HRC, we had a lot of senior leadership that was there. And during that time, before she got there, they were asking who would like to be the platoon sergeant for, for organization.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was like, none of these song first classes that we had wanted to step up to the plate. So that was my initial orientation, into that senior rank to be that leadership. To not just lead junior soldiers, but also to lead senior instructors as well too, as a staff sergeant. And that right there exposed me to a lot of things as well too. Not just how to, properly speak to senior NCOs, but also how to deal with your peers and how to deal with junior soldiers as well too. Because again, I was in the casualty operations division. So I had those soldiers to deal with, and I had every other soldier across the formation that I had to deal with as well too. And I just had the platoon sergeant, but hey, I had platoon sergeant duties that I had divisional duties that I had to do for my section as well too. And it was rough. But the learning curve was there, and I enjoyed it, and it made me a better person. I
love it, man. I love it, man. Hey, you shout out some legends out there, man. Sergeant Major Prelude, Chief Adiote, Chief Grenner. Oh man, Chief Grenner in fantasy football together, man. So you spoke you brought in some legends right there, man. But speaking of legends, right? We talking about your legacy, right? Leadership and legacy. So what does true leadership means to you, especially in today's Army versus when you enlisted in 1999?
Well, that's a tough question because, for me, being a leader for me, like I've said in my intro, it's knowing, when to be harsh and when to be fair as well too. Because again, you could be friends with your soldiers to the point where they understand that, hey, yes, we're friends on the weekends or whatever the case may be. However, when it's time to work, it's time to work. Yeah. And oftentimes we've seen where leaders are friendly with their soldiers both on and off work. They don't know when to cut that line down a little. And for me, coming in as well to, like I said, the leaders that I've had, coming in, they're a lot different than what we have today. And I wouldn't say it came naturally to me because, again, we always have to hold ourselves accountable for it. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable as a leader, how can you hold your soldiers accountable?
Can't.
How can you do that? If you're not within the standards first, you cannot hold a soldier to the standard.
Facts.
You cannot hold a soldier to the standard. So again, for me as a leader, I like to lead by example.
Okay.
And if my soldiers see that I'm leading by example, then it should be no reason.
It's contagious. It's very contagious.
There's no reason for them not to fall in line. Again, so if you could pass your height and weight and consistently pass your height and weight on a daily basis, then your soldiers should be able to do the same thing. Now, I get it. Not everybody could do the same thing that you can. So that's where you have to give them that special attention that they need to get them over the hump that they may have.
Everybody's different.
However, if you as a leader cannot keep yourself within the standard, but you turn around and then you're telling your soldiers out there not in standard, they're going to look at you as you're a joke of a leader. Because how can somebody that's not in compliance going to tell me how to get in compliance? And we do have leaders out there that do.
I tell that to my cadets all the time about that, man. What you
Yep.
just said, like
Yeah.
you're a joke to me. Like, what if you're not living up to the standards? Why you think we should look up to you? And
There you go.
man, it's
There you go. And
crazy.
again, like I said, oftentimes we have leaders that does that. And for me,
Yeah,
I just call them hypocrites.
definitely.
Because again, and it's funny because when I was in Germany,
Hmm.
I found like-minded individuals. We call ourselves the E7 Mafia, and this is one of the shirts that I have. I'm not a software class anymore, but this is one of
Oh,
the shirts that we have
the E7
nowadays.
Mafia.
You know,
Oh,
the
look at
E7
him.
Mafia. And
Okay.
basically, yeah, basically what that was is a bunch of us NCOs,
Mm,
because we hold each other accountable with the standards, whether
yeah.
it's height and weight, whether it's uniform compliance, whether it's haircuts, AR 670-1 standards, whatever it was. We
Hmm.
make sure that we are accountable with each other first before we go out and correct some soldiers. And like I said, it was about four of us: Sergeant First Class Moten, Sergeant First Class Lacey, Sergeant First Class Flemings,
Mm.
myself, Staff Sergeant Spencer, God rest his soul, may he
Oh
rest in peace.
man,
We lost him a couple of years ago due to a motorcycle accident, and
sorry to hear
Sergeant
about
First
that.
Class Harrison. So we made sure that we hold each other accountable. So when we go out and correct these soldiers for whatever was wrong, whether it was haircuts, uniform, dirty boots, or whatever the
Mm,
case may be,
mm,
we made sure that we were in the standard and always understanding. So when we go out and correct these individuals, there was no issues, comments, or concerns from them because they know, hey, when we come around, we know or they know that we're going to hold them to a higher standard that they're supposed to be, that their current NCOs are holding to. And that's all that we did. We held each other accountable, held the NCOs accountable as well too, and we held the soldiers and we held the officers accountable. Because again, it's all about standard. It's
definitely,
all about standard.
definitely about
All
standards,
about
man.
standard.
Now, LL. Now let's be real here. I want you to think back, right? Because you talking
Uh-huh.
about standards and as a leader, you face multiple, probably multiple soldiers with different backgrounds. Some
Mhm.
bad, some good. Some just had their head straight in the game. You had to deal
Yep.
with myself, coming straight from Florida, just didn't give a damn about stuff. I know. Come, let's be real here. So when you be thinking about your leadership, think about your soldiers and everything. What was the toughest leadership moment you faced? What did it teach you?
I would say the toughest moment that I faced was when I was in Germany. I was in Germany with the 18 CSSB.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also during the COVID era as well too. Um, and that was a defining moment for myself and one of the NCOs in my corner. And during that time, we had a service member that was going through some things with
Mm,
her city with her health list, and she also had a brother as well too.
mm,
And with that being said, without going too far into there were
mm-hmm.
some variances of situations that were going
Gotcha,
on
gotcha,
where they had to
gotcha.
be separated.
Yeah,
Let's go with that. Where they had to be separated.
yeah.
And with that being said, during that time as well too, with everything that was going on, I was still holding people to the standard.
Mm.
Whether they were faking or not faking, I was still holding people to the standard.
Woo!
And
Talk to me now.
again, having everything written down, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, was one of the things that kept me out of trouble. Because when that individual went to go get their dependent child, I wanted to make sure that they were good to go when they received. Because at that time, there were no buses running in Grafton to support you to get to work or to get to your housing or wherever you're going to.
Mm,
So one of the things that individual also did not have a vehicle. And they needed a family care plan because at this point their spouse wasn't with them.
mm,
So by regulation, they need to have a family care plan. So I said to that individual, hey, how about you hold off on bringing the dependent over until you could at least get a vehicle that you could support your dependent to get around. Because there is no buses, you don't have a vehicle. Yes, you are living somewhere. However, you don't have transportation to get to and from work to go pick them up even if they're in roads. You
mm.
have to currently depend on someone else. So, and then with that as well too, there was also a lot of promotion for it that was going on as well too that I kind of caught.
Gotcha.
So this was kind of like the first time because again, one thing I've always tell myself is, well, so I'm not going to jail for nobody's promotion or
Facts.
nobody's finances.
Yep. Mm-mm.
Even finances, I will not go to jail for nobody like that.
Male too.
So there you go, male as well too. So when I did my audits for these individuals, I found out that there were things that weren't driving. So a couple of people got relieved because they committed promotion for it. And one of the ways that we found out about that is that individuals were getting hooked up when they were PCSing. You
Oh
know,
wow.
because there were some HR professional out there that was hooking people up.
Hooking up.
To the
They
board
had the
proceeding.
hookup.
There you
Trying to
go.
be
So they
man.
could get promoted. So when I found that out, I brought that up and I nipped that stuff in the bud, and whatever needed to be taken care of got taken care of. So long story short, the individual that I was talking to you about in the story, filed a complaint that I was being, malicious towards them and treating them bad. And I was like, I've never treated a soldier maliciously or badly in my entire career. I've always been fair and I've always been just. And
Definitely.
everything that I've had, I've always made sure that it's written down, not in my eyes and crossed my teeth. So I wasn't worried per se, about the entire situation because I know I was covered.
Yeah.
But the simple fact that I was on an investigation for that, for treating somebody maliciously, kind of put a damper into my career for a little bit. Because again, here I was, never been on an investigation for anything at all, and now I'm on an investigation for treatment of it, malicious treatment of a serviceman. So that was a defining moment of my career.
Okay.
But I was cleared of all of that as well too, because
Thank
again, had
God.
everything written down.
Obviously, you
Had
here.
everything,
Look
all
at
my
you.
ducks was in a row.
Look at the
And
accolades
all
in
I
the
was trying
back.
to do,
The back of your
yeah,
background. You look at it. Obviously,
there
you
you go.
did. Yeah, it worked your
So
favor.
yeah. So all I was doing is just making sure that the service member was taken care of, even though they couldn't see that moment in time. That's what I was trying to do, to make sure that the service member and her family member were taken care of. And that's how I became clear. Now, with that being said, I mentioned the other NCO as well too. They brought that NCO in as well too, because again, when you hold substandard soldiers to the feet to the fire, you're not going to be well liked. And again, I'm not here to be your friend as an NCO. I'm here to be your leader. I'm here to manage you, and I'm here to make sure that the mission is taken care of while ensuring that your welfare is also taken care of.
Fact.
So when you hold people's feet to the fire, you're always going to have complaints against you. But like I tell my NCOs, as long as you have everything written down, you're doing everything according to the regulation, you can never go wrong. I will support you 100%. And that's exactly what happened.
So I like what you're saying, because it sounds like you balancing you found a balance to enforcing the standards, but you also still leading with empathy, and that's what it sounds like you're doing. And
you have to.
that goes into my next question, because you going deep into it, and now here's the question for you, because I think you got a good portion of this. What separates a good NCO from a transformational one? What separates a good NCO from a transformational one? Because you got good NCOs, but you got the ones who just, damn, that's the standard. That's the person who's going to be on the commercial for the Army. This the person who the Army want representing them. So
okay, so it all depends. So it's a matter of perspective, right? So to be a transformational leader, it comes a lot more than just being a good leader in itself. You have to find ways to ensure that what you're doing is not just for yourself or for your soldiers, but it helps to transform not just your section as well, but also the organization that you're in. Now, when I say it's a matter of perspective, I'm talking about being a good leader. Because again, for me, you might think that I'm a good leader, but your peer might not believe that I'm a good leader for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it's just a matter of perspective. However, if you're consistent in how you do things, if you're consistent with how you do things, and you're not strictly just seeing things in black and white, right? And I have to be careful when I say that in Bronx, because the regulation is there as a guide, and everybody interprets the regulation differently in Bronx, right? They interpret the regulation differently. But where you have that transformative leadership, in my opinion, is where you could have that conversation. Like I used to tell you, hey, I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to tell you where to find it.
Never.
I'm going to tell you what regulation to go find it at. Then you're going to read it for yourself, interpret it for yourself, and then we're going to have a conversation about what you've read and what you've interpreted. Now, what does that do? That does a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
One, it lets you as the individual know where to go and find that information,
Yep.
what regulation it's in, what
Mm-hmm.
page it's in, and then what chapter and what paragraph that is in. Two, you can never now say afterwards that, hey, this is what
I
Master
don't
on
know.
Lafayette
Yep.
says.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot say that because you yourself know
You
where
actually looked it
what the
up.
regulation
Yep.
says
You
and
could
how to interpret it. Now, the other
verbatim.
portion of that,
Mm-hmm.
yes, verbatim. The other portion of it is when we come back to the table and we have that conversation, then I will guide you to say, hey, okay, why don't you look at it from this viewpoint, right? Yes, you interpret it that way, but how about you look at it from this viewpoint? Because
Mm.
again, you're seeing it, but you're not seeing it in its entirety.
Mm.
And that's where you have that conversation because, hey, you're not just telling them where to go find it. You're also telling them to come back to me with the answer that you have, what you interpret from it. And then, hey, let's have a conversation to ensure that we are also on the same page, same wavelength, and that you understand it correctly as well, too. Because again, you might see something that I may have missed because I may have been wrong. Again, as NCOs or senior leaders, we also have to understand that, hey, we don't know everything and things are constantly changing. And
Yeah.
we cannot be set in our ways on how we do business as well. Too. It cannot be business as normal just because you outline or I outline. It cannot be. We have to have a shared understanding
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that we're
Share
A, taking care
understanding.
of each other,
Yep.
and B, taking care of the mission, and everybody's on the same wave. Does that make
Ooh.
sense?
I like that. Definitely share understanding. That's one thing I tell you. A lot of things good that I had great men. I thank God that I had great mentors, man. Because a lot of things that I do is just share understanding. I like to delegate. I like to make sure everybody in the shop know how to do each other's job and not just theirs, man. So
There you go.
something that you also help make me get aware of and be better at with
Mhm.
that by delegating. Cause I always used to hold a lot of
But
things
remember,
to
you could
myself.
always delegate authority, but not responsibility.
Facts.
That's always a fact. And as senior leaders, some of us seem to forget that, hey, we delegate our authority to get to our junior leaders to have them to get stuff done. But when
Hmm.
it's not done, we don't take responsibility for not ensuring by following up with them to ensure that the task is completed. So we always got to remember that you can delegate your authority, but
Mm.
not the responsibility.
Okay. Hey, real quick. So let's move on to the army got a lot of things that they could do for you, right? You've been around the world, man. Global experience, bro. So with that being said, I know you've been to Germany. You mentioned that. Have you been anywhere else? Outside?
Yes. So I've been to Norway, Norway of all places. So when I got picked up to go to Norway, shortly after leaving you at Bennett,
Okay.
that's when I got picked up to go to Norway.
Okay. Oh
So
yeah,
I
that's
never
right.
knew, yeah, I never knew that we actually had a base in Norway. I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. And
A lot of
for the
bases
life
I
of
was
me,
I'm like, oh man, Army, what?
yeah,
Bahamas? I saw a master went to the
and for the
Bahamas.
life
I'm
of
like,
me
what?
as well too, for the life of me as well too, I didn't even know, and I'm admitting this right now, I didn't even know where Norway was on the map, to tell the truth.
Hey, yeah, I gotta go look at it for
Hey,
myself, man.
I'm
Like,
not gonna
wait
lie.
a minute,
I'm
where
not
is
gonna lie.
Norway? I'm thinking
I'm not gonna lie.
Iceland in
I
my
didn't even
head,
know
but
where
I'm like,
Norway
nah,
was.
Greenland, no, Iceland, no, Norway.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I did not know where Norway was on a map until I started to talk to some of my other mentors, like Sergeant Major Nevels. At the time she was my first sergeant while I was at 30th AG. And I talked to her. I talked to Sergeant Major McCullen now, Sergeant Major
Mhm.
retired McCullen, and I talked to them and I asked them a question. I was like, hey. I got picked up to go to this assignment over in Norway, and
Yeah.
it's an attachment sergeant position. And being in the military as long as I've been, I came into the era where there were detachment sergeants and they were first sergeants. Now the detachment sergeant wasn't sergeant first class, and then the first sergeant was a hard striking hit.
Mhm.
You know, so and I was like, well, should I take this or should I not take this assignment? And they're like, you better take it. They're like, you better take it because it's a first sergeant position, and you need
Oh
to
yeah,
treat it as such.
yeah.
So that's the mentality that I went into this assignment with when I got stationed in Norway. And at the time I was a staff sergeant promotable.
Hmm.
I was a staff sergeant
Yeah.
promotable,
Then,
heading to Norway
yep.
to take care of, the NATO support element
Mhm.
army, and we were joined as well because we also had Marine Corps personnel, we had Air Force personnel, we also had Navy personnel under
Gotcha.
Navy culture as well too. And when I got there,
Mm-hmm.
I was a staff sergeant, staff sergeant promotable. And
Got the SAR first class.
there was software class that was there before, but he had left a month before I even got there. And this has been the thing throughout my career as well, too. I've always gone into situations where the previous individual that was there left, whether 3 to 9 months prior to me getting.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never had to rip with anybody since I've been in my career. I've always had to start over from the bottom.
Yeah. Wow.
Start over from the bottom. So but it's a good and a
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
and a bad.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
the reason why I say that, the reason why I say that is because you had the opportunity to shape that organization the
Mm.
way you want to, because there was nobody there to rip with you. Because when you rip with somebody, you
You
can
follow their
find the
trends. You follow their. Yeah.
there
Definitely.
you go.
Mm-hmm.
The good, the bad, and the
Yeah.
ugly.
Yep.
But when
Yep.
you're seeing it for the first time and experience for the first time, you're like, huh, that made me think. And now you want to say, okay, now that I see this, it needs to be fixed because there was no mechanism in there to combat that,
Mm-hmm.
or the mechanism that was there was not working. So I take that as a plus as well too. That hey, I have nobody to work with, so now I need to establish systems. I need to establish, whatever it is that I need to ensure that we're successful as an organization.
I
And
love.
while I was there, I had this junior rankingest member in our organization was an E5
That's
sergeant,
not bad.
E5 sergeant.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
No, it's not. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to details, I'm telling software classes, I'm telling master sergeants, I'm telling
Yep.
colonels, I'm telling majors,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we need to do this to ensure that everybody's taken care of. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about your rank. It's about us as an organization coming together
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that we are properly taken care of. So again, that's when my vernacular started to change on how I speak to people as well too. Because before, all I had was junior soldier. So I never interacted per se. Even in 14 HRC, even though we had some senior individuals,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm truly dealing with senior individuals in this organization. From all facets.
Gotcha.
You
So.
know, so so now I have to speak, I can't speak to a E5 the same way I speak to a colonel. I cannot speak to a
No.
major the same way I speak to a lieutenant or a captain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you start to learn how to interact, how to change, how to speak, and how to get stuff done, and how to tell people no without actually saying no as well too. So, and that was a good thing, going through that experience, because shortly after that, going to Germany, I got the CSSB that was underneath my tutelage, which was the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got to work with the 7th Army Training Command, which was top heavy as well too. And doing that position as well too, I start as a SAR first class, I was working in a SAR major position.
Ooh.
So now talk about a learning curve. Talk about a learning curve as a senior and senior HR professional. Now you have to make sure that you're coming correct with information for
Mm-hmm.
not just yourself
Yep.
and for the G1, but also when you speak to command sergeants, majors of brigades, colonels of brigades, to ensure that their organization is taken care of and they're manned properly as well too. Because again, you're on first class, but you're also the SME on HR now.
Okay.
So if you don't know your job,
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell that sergeant major how to do their job. Does that make sense?
Oh, definitely.
Because again, they're going to ask a senior HR professional who's either a master's on or another sergeant major, hey, is what sergeant first class Lafayette telling me correct? So that's how you start building rapport with sergeant majors
Mm-hmm.
once they're outrank you across the spectrum, whether laterally or vertically, to ensure that you're providing timely, accurate information to them to make the decision that they need to make. And once you have done that, then you are golden. You are golden because
Definitely.
they know that when you say something, you are telling them the correct thing that they need to do to ensure that their organization is properly manned or their organization is being done correctly. But
Definitely,
when you
man.
start giving these senior level leaders,
Mm-hmm.
wishy-washy answer or answers that they want to hear, they're gonna laugh at you and think you're a joke. They're never gonna trust you.
Oh,
They're never gonna trust you.
never. Never,
And
man. Never.
especially if you're a junior ranking member as well too, they're gonna say, okay, no problem, but they're not gonna take you seriously. They're gonna do total opposite of what you want.
So
So
it sounds like you learned a lot over there in Norway, man, because you 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 got some experience when you was put in that position. So my question is to you, man. It sounds like that was your favorite spot. Is that Was that your favorite
It
spot?
was. It
That's where the
was.
growth
It was.
became. I
It
mean, you
was.
was
It was
already
my favorite.
there, but it sounded
Yeah.
like Norway really transformed you, and now you was in that first star position as a staff star. I didn't think I had to think. I was looking crazy like, wait a minute, he left being as a star first class, didn't he? But no, you
No, I
you
was
left as a
promotable.
staff
I was
sergeant.
promotable.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
was
was
confused. I'm like,
promotable.
damn,
So
what?
yeah. So
Okay,
I got to Norway in February of 2016.
uh huh.
February of 2016. And by May of 2016, I pinned on Southwest Cloud.
Oh man, that's amazing, bro. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
By May I pinned on Southwest Cloud. So yeah.
So
And you're right, because
go ahead.
in Norway we were 3,000 miles away from everybody. We were 3,000 miles away from everybody. So we were 3,000 miles from the flagpole. So
Put my
again,
phone
the
in.
learning curve for me was huge, because not only did I need to support the individuals that were there, if I needed anything, the command was 3,000 miles away and everything was by a flight.
Let me search. I got my computer. Let me search what is
Yeah.
Norway at. I gotta see what
So
Norway at.
so this right here is a map. This was one of the things that I received when it was time for me to leave. And this outlines, where we were in Norway in itself, and where all the NSCs
United
were.
Kingdom. Okay.
Yeah. Where
Where's
all the
North?
NSCs were that was across the NATO brigade.
Oh, snap.
And here we are, Stavanger, Norway. That's us over there.
Well, I'm trying to look. Man,
Yeah,
it's
that's
taking
us
up.
over here. That's
Right there.
Stavanger,
That's where
Norway,
you was
right
at.
there.
Okay.
That's
That's
Norway.
Norway over there. Okay,
And
gotcha.
everywhere else over here, Mons, that was over there in Germany.
Yeah.
Over here, let me see, what was that? Jutland. All these right here in Norway, these were in England.
I see
And
it on the
everybody
map
else
now.
was in Belgium. Yeah,
Yep.
everybody else was in Belgium.
So Denmark, Sweden.
You
Did you get to visit some
yeah.
of these spots when you was out there?
Yeah, so I got to visit those spots as well too. So with all that, I had to be self-sufficient as the HR professional that was there, to get supplies for us, to
Uh-huh.
get uniform supplies, to get deployment supplies when we do those running exercises, and all that other stuff as well too. So my learning curve was huge, and to also maintain 350-1 training, as well as to maintain our readiness as well too, MRC readiness standards. So one of the things that I did, because when I got there, what I found out was that when it's time for the board, the different boards that we had, we were spending almost $12,000 a quarter to send people to Belgium to go get their DA folder done. Because what we had to do was, we had to do 3 different things, right?
Okay.
We had to do 3 different things. First, we had to get them a plane ticket.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-day travel. Sometimes it's a 3-day travel, sometimes it may be 4. A 3-day travel. So they left the night, they got down there, they had their appointment the next day, and then they fly out the next day. So that's rental car, housing, and per diem to
Gotcha.
get there. So what I did, I created what is known as a Ready Resiliency Week over there. And I was like, hey, how about we bring the individuals that, does the DA photo, the individuals that does audiology, immunizations and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So that way they could come out here for a week and service the entire population that is there.
What city
And
was
that
you
right
in
there,
over there? What city was you in Norway? I'm looking on the map.
Stavanger,
Huh?
Stavanger, Norway. Stavanger, Stavanger, Norway.
I see the
Yeah.
Strav.
That's where the joint, that's where the Joint Warfare Center is.
So was you like
So,
by the water, or you more in the
oh
middle?
yeah, we were by the water, boss.
You
We
was
were
by
by
the
the water.
water,
It's
so
beautiful.
I don't
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
it's beautiful, boss.
I bet it was, man. I bet
It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
it was. What about the food? Was the food
Yeah.
good, man?
Oh yeah, the food was good as well too. The food was, for them. So for us, right? So for us as Americans, we think lamb is a delicacy. We still think lamb is a delicacy.
Mm-hmm.
But for them over there, lamb is like all chicken. They
Wait
treat
a
lamb
minute.
as chicken.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say it again.
So for us, as Americans, right? For us as Americans, lamb is a delicacy for us.
Yes.
Like lamb chops, lamb kebabs, and all that good stuff. That's like a delicacy for us. But over there, lamb is to chicken as chicken is to lamb.
One more.
Yeah.
So chicken for them is delicacy? That's what you're telling me?
No, it was and it wasn't. But what I'm saying is, the common food for them is lamb, because they grow sheep. They have a lot of sheep over there.
Gotcha.
They have a lot of sheep over there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's why I said for us, we have a lot of chicken, so you know, a lot of us eat a lot of chicken. But
Gotcha.
for them, if you eat lamb, it's nothing big. But for us, you know, we're getting lamb from the butcher shop. You know, we have lamb burgers and all this other stuff. You know, that for us was like a delicacy because hey, we have never had that, and that was too expensive. Not saying that we didn't have it, but it was too expensive in the States to have on a day basis. You know, on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
You know, so we tried some exotic food over there. I've never had whale before. Tried whale. It was chewy, but good. Tried whale. It was good. Whale.
What
It
the
was good.
hell, LL?
Yep.
Come on,
It
man.
was good. So, you know, you have to explore
Whale?
whale. It was good. It was good, boss.
What?
It was good.
Was it raw
Yes.
cooked? What?
No,
Like
it was cooked good. But the thing about whale is as soon as it gets off the grill, you have to eat it or it becomes very chewy.
Oh, really?
And it takes away from the flavor and it takes away from the meat.
Oh,
So yeah.
man. Hey, so
Yeah.
LL, I got a few more questions for you because I know you got to get ready to roll out and everything, right? I want to
No
ask you a
worries.
few more questions, man, and then I'm gonna get you out of here,
Mhm.
okay? This is going real good. I wish I could have you for more time, man, to talk more. But let's
Oh, no
get
worries,
through. I'm
man.
gonna get through these questions real quick so I can get you out, boss man. All right.
Okay.
You didn't just serve, back to you. You didn't just serve, you pursue higher education consistently. What
Mhm.
was that so important? Why was that so important to you?
So it was more important to me because I'm the first generation that graduated from college,
Mm-hmm.
right? One of the first generation graduated from college in my family, both on my father and mother's side. And one of the things that I've always prided myself is that, hey, anything that my soldiers can do, I could do it as well. Too. So if you remember, you know, I had a lot of late nights when we was in Kuwait doing schoolwork. I had a lot of late nights. And I actually graduated with my actual bachelor's when I was in Kuwait, working at the SDS NCIC. There are a lot of nights when y'all went home to go sleep. I was in that office still knocking out schoolwork, you know, trying to ensure that I'm setting the right example. Because again, if I'm telling y'all need to go to school, then
Mm-hmm.
I should be doing the exact same thing.
Doing the same thing.
I should be doing the exact same
Can't be a
thing. So
hypocrite.
again, not only to be an example to my soldiers, but to also be an example to my actual family members as well too. And for right now,
I see
I
it.
have my bachelor's over here and I have
Yep.
my master's degree
Put the camera on it.
all
Put the camera
there.
on it. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Look at it.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead. Talk
the one
your
up
shit,
top,
LL. Talk your shit.
so the one up top is my master's,
Uh-huh.
and the one right here, that's my bachelor's in human resources, and I have my associates over on the other side.
Gotcha.
So again, you know, a lot of people like to leave all that stuff in their house, but you know, even though I have all these accolades assigned to my name, I don't like to show off with it as well too. You know,
Okay.
because of the simple fact that
It
you know,
wasn't for them. You didn't need that
as much as
validation for them.
it was given to
That's
you and
your
you earned it,
validation.
it also can be taken away from you as well too.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
so you got to understand that as well too. Though you have accomplished a lot of things in your life, you got to stay humble still. You got to stay humble.
So let me
You
ask you a
have to stay
question.
humble.
Be
Mhm.
honest with yourself. What was harder? A deployment or pursuing your MBA?
I would say pursue my MBA.
Hmm.
Pursue my MBA because there's a lot more writing that is done in my MBA and my bachelor's. Because
Okay.
again, remember, you know, I was doing my bachelor's on Eastern Standard Time,
Mm-hmm.
and we was in Kuwait.
Yeah.
And then when we lost internet and all that stuff, you got to figure all that stuff out.
That was
Then during the
tough.
day, you got to manage all the DVDs that we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to manage all the DVDs. You got to manage everything that you have for the CG.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the Sergeant Major, for taking care of the soldiers, all the boards that we had to support and everything like that as well too. You had to manage all that stuff. So you have to find the balance while you're in an austere environment and how you manage that with making sure that you do still do what you need to do to graduate from the trial. So what that did for me as well too, in the future, when I tell my service members, hey, you could go to school while you're on active duty. You don't have to wait until you get out
Mm-hmm.
before you start going to school because, hey, I've done it. And I've done it under worse conditions than you have right now. I did it while I was in Afghanistan and I did it while I was in Kuwait. And I got my master's while I was in Norway.
Mm.
Yeah, that's when I got my master's.
I know that was a great achievement for you, boss man.
Yeah.
I got so for the me, I was a recruiter back in the time. So we're gonna do just a little segment for recruiting for you. just for people who, because I got a lot of people who still friends with me on social media and seeing how cool I'm doing it in the army. So just so if they are watching this or if they do watch this, what's one army myth you like to clear up?
Well, the other myth that I would like to clear up is that hey, um, is that you really can't achieve the goals that you set for yourself. That's an army myth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, and the reason why I say it's an army myth because when people establish goals in the army, they
Mm-hmm.
only establish military goals.
Mm.
But one have to understand that you're not going to be in the military your entire life. At some point in your career,
You're gonna
you're
be
going
out.
to take the uniform off.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm doing this, but it's a military shirt. But I'm doing this because again, I used to wear uniform. And you're going to take off the uniform at some point in your career.
Mm.
And if you have only army accolades to go towards your name, you're not going to be successful on the outside to a certain degree. To a certain degree. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people, a lot of individuals that only have army accolades to their name on the classes, on the courses that they have to their name, and they're still successful.
Gotcha.
But that is also from a lot of networking, and again, timing is everything as well. I've told you
Definitely
that
is.
plenty of times in your career. Timing
Definitely.
is everything when
Time
it
is
comes
everything.
to assignments, when it comes to where you get stationed, it's all about the various timing in your career. So again, you as an individual who's getting ready to come in the military, no matter what situation that you have going for you, because you know my story as well too. When I came in the military, I had a full ride scholarship to go fly airplanes in Alabama. However, I couldn't get myself from New York to Alabama at that time because I was young and naive. I was new to the States, only did 4 years, in high school, and then I was off to college, or that's when I joined the military. Because as soon as I turned 18, I joined the military,
Ooh.
right?
Yep.
So I couldn't figure out how to get myself from New York to Alabama. Now, had I knew what I know now back then, maybe my life would have took a different trajectory. But I have no regrets whatsoever. None.
Okay.
Because the Army has taught me a lot. It's been a sweet ride. I've met a lot of people.
Definitely.
I've influenced a lot of people based off, my standards and everything like that. So I met my beautiful wife and had two beautiful kids out of that as well too. And because of the Army, I was able to go to a place called Puerto Rico. Never in my life did I think I would go to Puerto Rico, but I did. I did because of the job that I had at Fort Bliss. As a program manager for the Equal Opportunity Program. We had a conference that was over there, and I was able to go to that conference that was in Puerto Rico. And I was able to also not only that, but send other soldiers to various conferences around the country as well too, because of the
Diversity.
program that we had established.
Ooh, the diversity.
Yeah.
What you could do, man.
So,
The Army.
so that's why I said, the myth. There's a lot of myth that's out there, but by the same token, you have to take that myth that you have and you have to dispel it. When you come into the military, come in with a purpose. Come in with a purpose.
Say that one more time, LL. I might have to lead with that for when I edit the videos and everything and put it on Instagram. Say it one more time. You have to do what with it?
When you come in the military, there's a lot of myths. So you have to dispel those myths yourself.
Okay.
You have to dispel those myths. And
Message.
not only that, but come in with a plan. Come in with a plan.
Definitely.
Because one of the things that I told myself, no matter how many years I sign up for, make the best of it. Make the best of it. So if you sign up for 4 years, what's the highest rank you can achieve within those 4 years? How many classes, how many courses can you achieve or complete within
Setting
those 4
goals
years?
for
Because
yourself.
again, once you're on the cusp of getting out, you have to make the decision for yourself. And I'll go back to one last point before we conclude. One last point. Because when I was in the military, right, I joined the military so I could go to school. Did I do that my first 4 years? No, I did not. What I did instead, I partied a lot, I drank a lot, and I bought a lot of stuff because I was independent at the time. I was independent. I was making my own money.
Away
I
from
didn't
the
have
house.
to worry about anything. So that's what I did. So the goal that I established for myself did not actually happen. So when it was time for my first contract to be up, I took a step back and I was like, wow, 4 years have flown by up very, very fast.
Quick.
And I have nothing nothing to show for it whatsoever.
No
Yes, I
accolades,
have a lot of
nothing.
stuff.
Yep.
I have a lot of stuff,
Uh-huh.
and I have a lot of clothes. I had a lot of shoes. I had a car, but I had nothing else to show for it because again, like I said, I came in to go to college. I took college courses because I wanted to keep Sorrow First Class Allen off my back.
Gotcha.
On my other end, she was off my back.
Yeah, he was on your back.
By the same token, when I took those classes, I make sure there wasn't like, classes that would go to elective. I make sure there were classes that should I be serious and go towards a degree, those classes could be able to transfer into something. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So again, you have to be, even though you're trying to get people off your back for certain things, you have to be strategic with it. And that's what I did. So when it was time for me to re-up again, I was like, I have a car, I have clothes, I got shoes, and I have a few dollars, but I have nowhere to stay. I haven't earned a degree or anything. So now the individuals that I graduated with have surpassed me now. Because now they went off to college and they're working on getting their degrees and they're about to graduate from college with their degree. But I did not do that.
You wasn't doing
Like I said, I partied a lot and did a lot of stuff that I wasn't supposed to do. But, that's it.
Gotcha.
So I made that conscious decision that, hey, I do not want to go back home as a failure to my family that I left in New York. So I was like, if I should go home right now, what would I be doing? I would be living out of my car, have to go find somewhere, find another job, and have to go try to go to school.
Message.
So I made that, So I made that conscious decision that, hey, I'm gonna do another 4 years, but this time I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna take it seriously, and then
you got your
I'm
priorities
go ahead.
together.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I reprioritized what was more important because again, I did everything that I needed to
on
do
yourself.
in those first 4 years. I did everything that I was supposed to do. Everything I was supposed to do.
Gotcha.
Yes, am I mad that I didn't get a true college experience? To a certain degree. To a certain degree. Because, didn't get to go to Greek Week, do a fraternity and all that good stuff. You still could do that now.
Yeah.
You still could do that, but it's a different experience because you're not experiencing while you're in college.
Gotcha.
You can still do that now because even now, I could still join a fraternity, because I qualify with the grades and the accolades that I have.
I know a few of my brothers who's the same age as me who did that just recently. So yeah, definitely can.
So you still could do that, but it's just a little bit different from the experience that you have.
All right.
But regardless,
I got 2 more questions for you, boss man. Got 2 more questions. I know I got to get you out of here.
Yeah.
2 more questions. All right. Now that you're retired, what does legacy mean to you?
Legacy to me means something different than most people. Because what I think my legacy is may not be what you think my legacy is. Right? So for me, I want to go into the military and exit the military the same way that I came in. What do I mean by that? Meaning, I didn't want to disgrace myself or my family. I didn't want to get chaptered from the military. I didn't want to, I wanted to retire from the military. And again, going out on top means something as well too. And what does going out on top mean? Meaning that the Army didn't tell Landsworth L3 that thank you for your service, but it's time for you to go. I made that conscious decision with me and my family that, hey, I'm going to turn down, complete this on major and go out while I'm on top because I'm still in the top 3% of the Army. I'm not in the top 1 because I didn't complete this on major, but I'm in the top 3%. So I'm at the tip of I'm not at the very top of the triangle. I'm in like right there at the very, that little T right there. That's where I'm, top 3%. So that's what I call going on in top. And then, the things that I've established as the program manager for Lesson 1 and 2 that is still being utilized today. I think that right there is more of my legacy to me. Because while I was there, I established the FDRP program, which is, the faculty recognition program, faculty development recognition program for the media, for my media, right? Because one of the things that I looked at when I was there was job satisfaction. Because being a military equal opportunity advisor is very monotonous because you're doing the exact same thing. You're just rinsing and repeating every single day. Every single day. You go out, you take complaints, you do training, and that's about it. But how do they remain competitive, for their different MOS that I had on my tutelage? How do they remain competitive while they're out here doing military equal opportunity advising within you? And they're doing the exact same thing. So that's why we instituted
Mm-hmm.
the FDRP program where they can go and compete for instructor of the cycle. They can get their instructor badges by putting in the hours. And not only that, but when they compete for instructor of the cycle, that's also a bullet that they could also put on their eval. So this shows them that, hey, I'm not just out here being a military equal opportunity advisor, but I'm just setting myself apart from my peers by competing and teaching the correct way and being voted in as the instructor of the cycle, similar to drill sergeants of the cycle and drills. So
Okay.
those are some of the things that we establish. And then, Army Heritage Month, we make sure that those individuals have a piece to play in that so that way they can get various things. And not only that, but I also ensure that if they did a phenomenal job, I also took care of them by submitting them for an impact AAM or an for an AAM. Because, hey, great job of recognition. Like I said in my opening, you just don't want to give them an attaboy in the back. You want them to remember something by putting it on paper as well, too. So that way they have something that they can say, hey, I remember doing this. Because when you pat somebody on the back, after a few years or a few months, they don't remember what they've done. They have nothing to reflect on and say, yeah, I remember doing that. And they can talk about that experience that they did as well, too, if that makes
Okay. So, LL, one thing I want to add to that, right? And this
sense.
is just from me to heart, man to man to you, right? With your legacy, what I think for your legacy, how you left your legacy, is the willingness to take the time to sit with your soldiers and train them. The impact that you left, like you sacrificed a lot. You could have been that selfish person. What they call it today now is gatekeeping, keeping all the information to yourself to just to make
Mhm,
yourself look good. You was willing
mhm.
to make sure the soldiers did better than you. You gave us
Right.
the opportunity. Now some of us went through it. Some of us received the information but didn't do nothing with it. You could look
Right.
at me too. Some of it's
Well,
probably
it took
me,
you a
right?
while to do
But
that too. It
but
took
but
you a
but
while to
but
do
you
it.
like you said, just like how Star first car first Star first class Allen,
Mhm.
just like how he was on you, you're just like that on me, man. So I think one thing, your willingness, and you always an open book, an open sponge to just you know delegate and disseminate all that information to your subordinates, man. That's one thing I think your legacy is great. Like you're outstanding leadership. You don't gatekeep. You willing to teach everybody. All right, LL. One more thing, last one, real quick. One word, or you could put in, you could add the word. Here we go. We're gonna closing segment. Finish this sentence, LL. Leadership is blank.
So
Say it again. You going in and out.
being true to yourself,
Being true to
being true to
yourself.
yourself, being true to yourself.
Leadership is being
Now,
true to yourself.
that might mean a couple of things to other people, though. But for me, my authentic self is just that, like you said, because for me, I don't like keeping information because one of the things that I've always told them is knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
And by me having all the knowledge does not benefit you one iota, not at all. And the only way that you could gain knowledge is by sharing experiences and researchability. You've heard that term before as well too. When you go to
Researchability. Yep.
SLC, MLC that you're
Mm-hmm.
about to go to,
Mm-hmm.
researchability.
Yep.
Because when you research stuff, you commit that to knowledge. And if you're your authentic self, then people can never say that you're fake or you're just trying to do something just so you can get that. And that's the last thing that I'll say in that. Because again, when you're genuine and you're a genuine leader, you do the right things, not just to take care of yourself, but to take care of your troops along the way as well, too. Because again, when you take care of your troops, you leave a lasting impression on them that they can carry way into the future, even after you're gone.
Mm.
And how you know whether or not you made a lasting impact is whether or not after they got separated from the military
Oh shit.
or they're gone on to something totally different, they still reach back to you for either information or advice.
Okay.
Or if they show up to certain things that you're hosting as well too. So that's how you know you've made a lasting impact and the legacy that you will have established, within that footprint is yours or is not yours. Because again, people can say that the legacy that I have left is, always being genuine, making sure my soldiers are
Definitely
taken care
genuine.
of, being harsh, being fair. But
Mm.
that may not be what I thought about myself. Because for me, it might just be I'm not an embarrassment to my family. As long as I'm not an embarrassment to my family, I left a great legacy. And that could be you. You know, that's what I think about, my time in the marriage. That,
Okay.
hey, I didn't embarrass myself, I
Mm.
didn't embarrass my family, didn't embarrass my son. So if they go out there and search for something from Landsworth Lafayette off of Landsworth Lafayette Jr. or whatever the case may be, nothing derogatory will pop up to say, hey, he did that years ago and he hit it for me. You see
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's what I think my legacy is. Hey, I came in one way, I left that way. I came in, as a
They can't talk
soft-spoken
truth.
person. I'm
Mm-hmm.
outspoken,
Mm-hmm.
but I improved on what I was when I came in back in 1990.
Definitely. You
That's
definitely
what I would say
definitely
my
different
legacy
from what you
is.
was from 1999. Definitely,
Yeah,
you saw the improve, the growth, the maturity.
yes.
So yeah, definitely, man. I really appreciate y'all, man. Well, appreciate you definitely and your family. You took care of young brother who was still, trying to find his way through the army. You man, I can't tell you how much you did for me, boss man. And I'm truly blessed to have you as a mentor. I hope everybody could get something out of this from you, man. So, hey, to
I
me,
hope so
to
too.
you, brother, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for giving me this time. I said about 40, 45 minutes. We went over our time. I know you got to go with your family. So I like, dog, he
Okay.
putting out a lot of information. I want to keep it for longer, but I understood, man. I really
Well, we could do
appreciate you,
another
bro.
segment if you so desire. We could do a lot
Definitely.
more. We could do another
Oh,
segment,
and
and
we're
we
gonna
can
talk sports
streamline
too.
it.
Your Sorry
Yeah.
Jets and my Jaguars. And we could talk about how I beat you in not dominoes and bones and
Well,
everything.
whatever. You'll never beat me in
Okay,
dominoes. Whatever,
okay,
man. Hey, I
okay.
still got dominoes here.
Uh,
You can come on
Whenever
down
you're
whenever.
ready,
You kind of
I,
shied away from it when you were
I will catch a
PCSing from
plane
Parkland
over there
to
and I
Maryland.
will catch
You
a
didn't want
plane
to
over
come
there and
by.
get with you, man. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know.
But ladies and gentlemen, this is LL Landsworth. I call him Landsworth L3 Lafayette Massar retiree. I really appreciate you, Massar. You was the best ever, man. Thank you so much, brother. So with that being said, last few words for everybody. Hey, just like Lafayette said, be true to yourself. Leadership is being true to yourself. If you stay true
That's
to
it.
yourself, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. All right.
No,
Well, I
you got
appreciate
man.
y'all. Again, if y'all like and love what y'all just saw, please hit that subscribe button, share. Right? If you want to get with LL, go ahead, put your IG name out there. If some people might want to give you what's your IG, boss man?
Hey, IG is the Jamaican man, the Jamaican 1981, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's go.
All right,
Hey,
our Lads versus Lads on Facebook. All right. Hey,
appreciate.
making it look too easy. It
Yep.
ain't easy being breezy, baby. All right.
Yes, sir. Easy. Hey, I appreciate you, LL. Y'all take care. LL, hold 1 second. I'm gonna talk to you after this. Y'all take care, man. Appreciate y'all so much. Thank God. Y'all be blessed and have a good week. All right. Go ahead. Let's go.